We are live there.
Look at you, Ian.
Thank y'all for coming out today to help me with my project. We're going to be talking about cell phone use, and we all know how important they are. How many in here have cell phones? Smartphones. Everybody is 100%. And they are common use. We use them in our everyday lives. What are some of the things we use cell phones for? GPS. Internet. Music.
Social media.
Texting. Social media. Alarm clock.
Camera.
Camera.
It's a phone.
FaceTime, that's right. Snapchat, all that good stuff. So we use them in our everyday lives, and they've become almost an addiction to us, right? In our uses for them. And as great as they are, we do have to take into consideration there are some hazards that go along with cell phone use and ownership. Things that we don't even think about. I think we get so tied up in our everyday lives and actions that we don't think about some of the hazards associated with it. But we do need to think about those, even as great as they are to us and as useful. We need to think about the hazards that go along. One of the three different hazards we're going to talk about today is going to be texting and driving, okay? And number 2 hazard is going to be the germs associated with the cell phones. And number 3 is going to be the noise, okay, and hearing damage that we can encounter with cell phone use. So the first one, most highly publicized, is going to be texting and driving. And we all are very familiar with that. We hear about it every day, being in EMS, and one of the first things we do when we run a wreck, actually, what's our first thought is, were they on their phone? That's right. It's something that comes to mind really quick. We are multitaskers by nature, but at the same time, it takes a whole lot of our brain, and it does have limits, to be able to drive like we should and to pay attention to everything and be effective. So when we start using our phones at the same time, we're taking away from that attention that needs to be on our driving skills. And of all the uses of our cell phones, the most dangerous, according to Car and Driver, is going to be texting, whether it's typing or reading. Both require a lot of attention from that. And our ability to drive, okay? Again, it has become an addiction, so it does hinder our driving and our skills. And according to GPSsystems.com, 5 seconds of our eyes off the road while we're looking at our cell phone, if we're traveling at 55 miles an hour, we travel the distance of a football field. Okay, so that's 100 yards. And there's a lot that we can encounter, in that time. So that just goes to show us, how fast we're going and the dangers that we can encounter along the way. Another thing, a hazard, is that they compare texting and driving to a DUI, okay? And there's a new phrase that's been coined that's called driving while intoxicated. So it's something that maybe that'll ring in your ears the next time your phone buzzes and you pick it up while you're driving. But it actually, according to GPSsystems.com, increases our reaction time by 600 times longer of a reaction time when we're texting and driving. It also increases our chances of being in an auto accident by 6 times more than if we were drinking and driving. So that just shows both are a hazard, but I don't recommend either one. So we need to be mindful of that and be careful. It's a growing problem. According to Edgar Snyder and Associates, at any given time on our highways in the United States, there are more than 600,000 people driving and texting, or driving and using their phones, whether it be talking or texting, at any given time. Population in our county is around 80,000, and we think about, how many more people that would be each and every day that's out there, any given time, texting and driving. When we talk about adolescents, 11 teenagers die every day just from texting and driving. That's a lot. When you think about where there's only 10 of them, that would be everybody in the audience today, in one day across the United States. And we think, well, that's not a lot. It's just 11 when you think about all 50 states. But that's 11 lives that were lost needlessly, okay, over a habit that we don't need to even have. It's such a growing problem that 46 states have banned texting and driving, and North Carolina is one of them. It's a learned behavior, So we are showing our children and adolescents, people riding with us, people watching us go down the road, you know, this behavior that we have. So we have to be mindful of who's watching and who's learning from our bad habits. According to Car and Driver, 48% have seen their parents text and drive. 48% of children and adolescents. 48% of ages 12 to 17 have actually been in a car with someone who texts and drives. And then once they start driving, ages 16 and 17-year-olds, 94% say, I know how dangerous it is, okay? 48% also admit to doing it themselves, okay? 25% admit to have, that they respond to at least one text every time they get in the car. So that just shows how big of a hazard that is. Number 2, talking about germs, okay? And how nasty our cell phones are. A lot of them are compared to toilet seats, okay, and how nasty we think a toilet seat would be, when in all actuality our phones are probably nastier than our toilets, because most of us clean our toilets on a regular basis. How many times have y'all cleaned your phone lately? Just that we ever look at it. And everything we do, we've got this phone in our hand. And so, according to some statistics from the CDC, if we took every square inch of this phone, for every square inch on the phone, there's 25,000 germs, okay, present. 94% of our cell phones would test positive for some type of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. So the bacteria that we see on our phones are going to be MRSA or MRSA, methicillin-resistant staph, and E. coli. We also have staph infections, and strep would be another one. Streptococcus is another bacteria. Influenza that's on our phones. How many of you have seen or done yourself give your phones to your children? And then we expose them to all of these hazards too. Where's it coming from? Everything we touch, we transfer. Okay, so we go to the grocery store, touching the carts, doorknobs, everything we do, handling money, shaking hands, coughing, you know, anything, and then we touch our phones. We go to eat. How many of us eat with our phones? Close by. We're doing stuff on our phone, you know, and then we're eating. So we're introducing that into our bodies. 1 in 6 cell phones, so 1 out of 6, if not 2 in this room, would test positive for fecal matter. How many of you take phones to the bathroom with you? That's something to think about. You know, where does it come from? It's a perfect host, okay? It's a warm environment. We keep them in dark places like our pockets, our purses, our book bags, and so it's a perfect environment for these to grow. Another is going to be noise. How many of you have a set of these? What are they? Headphones. Headphones, earbuds. We use them all the time, right? At home, people use them at school. The gym, okay? And we're listening, okay? All along, we're not thinking about the damage we could be doing to our ears, all right? Innocently, we don't even think about it. According to audiologist Janie Handelson, exposure to long-term loud noises does cause hearing loss. Hearing loss is irreparable. It means we can't get it back once we lose it. Let's see. All that we have to have, 85 decibels is how they measure noise to cause hearing damage. These little earbuds put out 100 decibels of noise. Okay? So we have to be careful with that. A chainsaw is 100 decibels. Okay? So that's just something to compare it to. A normal conversation, 65 decibels. A whisper is only 30 decibels. So that just shows how much that we're actually being exposed to. Other effects that we get, according to the CDC, from loud noise, increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, sleep loss. How many people go to sleep at night listening to music? And it can affect our sleep patterns. Okay? So we have to acknowledge, those are my 3 health risks that I came up with as far as cell phone use. And we have to acknowledge these. We overlook them quite a bit. I think they are hazards to us, just from an innocent habit that we have of using cell phones. The undesirable effects are going to keep growing as long as we overlook it and don't think about it. And it's a shadow because it's in the shadow of an addiction, according to America. So we have to be mindful of that. So the three things we've talked about: using your phones while driving. We've also talked about some of the health hazards of the germs and bacteria on our phone, and also the hearing damage that can come from using our phones along with our earbuds, and that can be a lifelong disability. So these are just a few of the negatives that go along with our cell phones, just from routine use. Thank y'all for your time. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you.